I'm talking today about a crisis that's upon us, apparently, from what I'm reading. And my subject is help. Babies are destroying the earth. Stay with me. It is January the 3rd on Wednesday, and this is All Things Apostolic, and I am Nathaniel Wilson, and I am glad to be with you today. We have a very, very interesting topic today, a very sobering topic, which is crazy. It's calls for humans to stop having children, because it is having children are, they have found, is creating a negative effect on the climate. And so they want people to have either less children or preferably no children for the sake of the earth, for the sake of climate change. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. Before we do, I want to tell you about next Wednesday, that's a week from today, on ATA, right here on All Things Apostolic. We have a special deal going with Jennifer Barret, who is just finishing her doctorate in biblical studies at Faulkner University. And she's a tremendous scholar and researcher. She is going to be talking about the subject of Gen Z and the impact of social media on Gen Z. Now, she has two people that's going to join her. I don't know if they're all going to join her the same day or one each day, but whatever. One of them is Beth Baus, who is a well-known, and especially in Pentecostal circles, a well-known family and marriage therapist. She is also had her own addiction, like nonprofit business, where she helped people with addictions of different kinds, and of which social media fits in that. She's going to be joining Jennifer. And so you're going to hear two people who really know what they are talking about as they discuss this subject, which is in the news. And then the other day, I don't know who's Wednesday and who's Thursday, or if they're both going to be both days, whatever. The other day is youth pastor Boston Young, who is just finishing up his doctorate, and which wrote, I think, for his dissertation, he wrote about Gen Z. And I think his main subject is Gen Z and leadership. But in that dissertation, he includes a discussion about Gen Z and social media. And so he's done a lot of research on this and is very well-versed on this subject. So they're going to be next Wednesday and next Thursday. You're not going to want to miss it. That will be January 10th and 11th. And it's going to be a great time. You'll get introduced to them if you haven't met them. Jennifer will become a regular co-host on All Things Apostolic very soon this year, here in the month of January. You're going to enjoy that. I told somebody I'm kind of intimidated that this would happen because she does such good work, and I just come on and kind of say, hello, dog, how you doing? But, but it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful, and we have others to announce that are coming on as co-hosts too. We're finally moving forward. We've gone very slowly in moving forward. Before it's over, All Things Apostolic is going to be an incredibly impacting podcast on a whole different level. So there's this call that's going out for people to rethink having children, because human beings, even small ones, small human beings like kids, risk polluting the world and causing global climate destruction. I just read that. That came out of an article that says that human beings, even small ones, are threatening the health of the earth. Now, it would be impossible for me to tell you how preposterous this is and how ridiculous this is. But it just shows, along with all the other stuff that's happening, that people are propounding as being truth, which is just a bag of foolishness in most cases. Along with that, now we have this about having children. Now, I didn't look this up, and so I may be off a little bit, but there is a number that researchers have done and found. There is a number of children per marriage in a nation that is necessary to keep the population of the nation from going downhill. Right now, while I'm talking to you, this is a major problem in China. It's a major problem in North Korea. That's two examples where there are oppressive governments, communist governments that are very oppressive. And so China, years ago, they actually encouraged people to have abortions, especially if they were having a girl, because they wanted more boys. To begin to deal with this in the first place is just idiocy. Because if you've got all boys, then what happens later? And that actually happened in China. Then they didn't have wives, so they started trying to import wives from other Asian countries and wherever they could get them, and European countries, Eastern European countries. Just crazy when people start dealing with these most organic and life and reality on the granular level. When people start messing with those things, weird things happen. And they think they're smart. These people think they're smart when they start doing this, but actually they're not. So anyway, China's below the line. I think it is 1.6. If it's not, it's 1.6, 1.7, right in that area. If a family does not have 1.6 children minimum. Now, I know they can't have 6/10 of a kid, but you understand what we're talking about. So it may be that one has 2 kids and the other one has 1 kid, or somebody has 4 kids and somebody has 2 kids. But overall, the average in America or another nation has to be at this 1.6 or 1.5. It's right in that area level. And if it goes below that level nationally, then the population starts going down. This is not good, because if the population goes down, it will not be able to sustain itself. Like right now, there's old people that receive Social Security. Well, there's the continuance of Social Security for people's fathers and mothers who are retired, or grandparents, or whoever. The continuance of that depends upon the population staying stable, because that comes from taxes that people pay in to the Social Security program. I'm just talking about America here. And that's just one example out of many examples of how keeping a population level is critically important. So also in North Korea, like the little gentleman that is the leader of North Korea, well, I don't know if he's little or not. He seems to be healthy, maybe not healthy, but he seems to be well-fed to me. But anyway, he is urging the whole nation to have more children, and they're not cooperating. The truth is, when they see how they're living and the mess that they have to live in, they don't want to bring children into that nation. Think about that. But he's encouraging them to have children because he's a dictator and he wants them to think that he's God. And that's not an exaggeration. He has them worship him as people would worship God. It's terrible. It's pathetic. That's a terrible government. And Anyway, his people are not having enough children, and so the population is declining in North Korea. So they are wanting people to have more children. Now, the only way a nation can sustain if that happens is for there to be immigration, bring other people in from other nations. Well, China doesn't want immigration, and North Korea doesn't want immigration because they're trying to control the ideas that people have. So they got a problem. They've got a problem. And so the next thing maybe would be coercing people to have children. Wouldn't that be something? But it could very well be what's coming down the road. So now, back to our subject. The climate change folks are saying that these little human beings are problematic for human beings. News and op-ed headlines, they've came out in support of having few or even zero children. Over the years, they've done this. One example is from NBC News, that in 2017, they said science proves that kids are bad for the earth. If that's not nutcase level, I don't know what is. Science proves that kids are bad for the earth. Mr. Science, the earth is made for kids. Kids are not made for the earth. The earth is made for kids. The earth is made to be inhabited by humans. And if you just look at nature and how strong nature's intention is seen in having children. For example, the very strongest drive, perhaps other than eating for survival of life, I don't know, but the most strongest drive that human beings have is sexual. And the reason is not because that they're just enjoying themselves. The reason is that nature has made the enticement. It's nature's tease for nature to get its way. And so nature put that in us and makes human beings desire sexual relationships. Nature has a byproduct intent in that, and that is that it will bear children, and children will come into the earth. This is the strongest drive there is. This is part of the whole universal structure of laws and purposes and desires and thrusts. And in that is earth, and earth is to have people on it. Now, we're for the earth, and we think we ought to take care of the earth, and we try to take care of the earth. Oh, I'm sure somebody criticizes somewhere that we didn't take care of the earth, but it's like the one guy that gets criticized. He's always talking about green earth as he flies around the world in his private jet. So does one little human being give as much negativity to climate control as does one jet ride? See? I mean, so there's always something to criticize. Oh, you're breathing. You're creating a problem. You better quit breathing. So there's all this stuff that goes on, and morality suggests that we stop having children. This is what this article said. Another headline from another newspaper that same year declared that the answer to saving the planet was simple, and they said, you want to save the planet? Have fewer children. Or as one New York Times writer asked in 2021, that's just a couple years ago, to breed or not to breed? And so a climate reporter posed a similar question to that to parents and parents that are in waiting. This was in a Washington Post analysis. And this just was a short time ago, a few weeks ago. And should you not have kids was a question because of climate change. It's complicated, they said. Well, it doesn't look complicated to me. And so you say, well, we're going to start controlling how many kids people have, And so people impose all of this in America as though America alone is the world. There's 200 and what? I don't know, 200 and some odd nations in the world. And if you think all of them are doing this stuff, you're mistaken. So one mother, this is really sad. One mother who couldn't shake the feeling that by giving birth she might be doing something bad for the earth. She couldn't shake the feeling. And as a result, she and her husband decided that having a child, a single child, could fulfill their desires without putting undue burden on the overheated world. All right, folks, I'm going to give you some more of this craziness tomorrow. This is All Things Apostolic, and this subject definitely has to do with apostolics.